as I say, in my case, my father was a default painter. I mean, he wanted to be a painter, but he couldn't do that because of the depressions and trying to support the family. But there was always art in the house and music in the house. And I had an uncle who was an illustrator. And in fact, it was he who helped me build my first enlarger when I was a kid. So that was all. I mean, art and writing and music were part of my life. And though I went to RIT primarily because I didn't have any money, it was close. I was interested in art and photography, and I thought I could make a living doing something in photography and still make pictures and write and so on. So I went there kind of naively. We would go to Minor and we would learn zone system and how to stare at a picture for an hour and really digest that picture, detail by detail. In retrospect, that was a major part of our education about what a picture is and how you deal with that. It's not, particularly in photography, where photographers generally tend to see a subject or an object and say, oh, that's nice, I'm going to make a picture of that, whether it's people or a lamp or whatever it is, and never really think about what's going on behind it, in front of it, to the left of it, to the right of it, and so on. So we really learned to understand that photography, like any other picture, is made up of everything that's in it, and everything that's in it is important. When I hear that at RIT, the students of photography can't take courses in the art school, I blanch. I mean, what the hell does that mean? Other than there has been, since 1839 or earlier, this amazing split between photography and other visual arts. I have a lot to say about this, but I don't know how to say it briefly. In the early 19th century, painters were afraid they were going to lose their jobs, and some did, printmakers, etchers, and so on, and all the competition there. On the other hand, there were a few painters who understood and appreciated what photography could do for them as an aid, as a tool, in most 99% of the cases. And we know that Delaroche taught all these photographers as painters, but told them to look into and use photography. And some of the first art photographers came out of that background. And so the 19th century is a mishmash of people trying to make art, trying to learn how to make art with a medium they really still haven't learned how to control, so that the art was always lacking something because it was a new medium. It's sort of like what's going on with digital now. But as you also see, as you go through the 20th century, nothing really changed very significantly in terms of the split between photography and painting. Sure, we have exceptions. We have Man Ray, who turns out to have been a better photographer than a painter, but who most of the time said he was not a photographer, he was a painter. And that all reflects the kind of inferiority complex that photography came into the world with. It comes in with an inferiority complex in relation to art, and it comes in with an established idea about it being a true, honest, realistic representation of what's out there, the final success of the goal that painters since the Renaissance were trying to get at. So all this stuff contributes to a mass response or understanding of the medium of photography as a mechanical, or they call it natural or mechanical representation, reproduction of what's out there in infinite detail that you can't see. So it's established by sort of no real effort on anybody's part, but by all these things that sort of come with it as a tool for something other than art, though it can be used as a tool to help art in certain small ways. Then the art world itself turns on us. It brings Cindy Sherman and Dave Hockney and all the rest of these people in and say, well, these guys are artists. I mean, they happen to use a camera, but they're really artists, unlike those people who use cameras who are really not artists. And so it continues to be this kind of segregation, this kind of bigotry, and if you'll let me go that far, which is a long-standing kind of thing that is hard to get rid of. I mean, painters still have the feeling that if they were caught using a camera, they would be accused of cheating. And that just enforces something that is just not true. It is as hard or harder to make a wonderful photograph as it is to make a wonderful painting. Plenty of evidence of that. So until we finally get to the place where we understand that pictures are pictures and they're all in the same family, they're related to each other. It doesn't matter what the medium is. And what we should be looking at is what is being produced by the person who's using whatever medium he, she is using. And is it worth talking about? Since I had this dual split personality career anyway, I'm teaching art history, supposedly writing art history and making photographs. I suspect that if anybody looked at me halfway objectively, they would have to say that I have spent my life in the art world, not the art world in New York City or the art world in the magazines, but the art world, the larger art world, because that's all I know is about art and music. What makes people move into worlds they have never thought of before, open up experiences that they haven't had before, experiences that relate to other kinds of experiences that they have gotten largely through other art.